to Jack Dodsons Racing Insider News. We got the legendary Jack Dodson. He's got his own show.
Not so legendary.
The Reese, not so legendary.
Nobles. Yeah.
Nobles. And me, Scott Allen. We got a lot to talk about tonight.
And before we get started, you're fresh off your
appearance.
Personal appearance.
Yeah, well,
look at this. This is pretty good here. That's really good. I really like this picture right here. Tell me we don't dress up for this show. Right there's Reese.
Yeah. We would need a longer table to cover up Reese.
Anyway, yeah, you went off. You got your personal appearance done.
Hey,
got another one coming.
How many autographs did you do? 5? 0?
There weren't that many people there, honestly. Surprisingly, they had the Polar Plunge on Saturday and then the Super Bowl on Sunday. But in 2 weeks, we got another one to do. They want me back. So
they want you back?
Yeah, so we'll do it again. There'll be a lot there.
Because he's the only one who can pull the car in and out.
Did he back it in, or did he?
All right, before we get our first guest calling in here in a few minutes, let's talk about the arena races first. Reese Nobles went up to the arena races.
Like always.
Cody Carlton was suspended for one race.
Yep. And that
Jo-
damn car still won.
And Jordan Wood won with the car.
And that damn car still won, yeah.
So, and of course you had one of those sexual things with Bobby Allison.
I did not have sexual relations with that former driver. No.
Okay.
But how was the turnout there with everybody?
I was about 2,000. 2,000 maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really good for arena racing.
Yeah, that's really. Definitely most packed I've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Samsung G900B connected. Battery level is medium.
Okay.
All right.
So arena racing was good.
Yeah.
I was glad to see. Damn, he's gonna be mad. I can't think of his name. The 11 car win the A main.
Medeiros. Yeah.
Medeiros.
Medeiros?
Medeiros.
Okay, I was pronouncing it wrong the entire time.
He's got a couple more wheels to put on. we work in a repair shop, so.
It's really a shame Robbie Allison couldn't have had a better day.
How did it turn out?
Last in the A-main?
The A-main's tough.
Oh yeah.
I mean.
So he didn't get to run the top dog?
No. He messed up all together. No.
That's what people don't realize, that the arena racing is tough. I don't care how long you've been racing or how good you are anywhere else. Until you get in an arena car and start running, it's just different than about anything else you'll run.
Oh yeah.
But I understand that the points between Testerman and Cody, with Cody being out, I don't know how the driver's points, but the owner's points, we understood. We had an insider. He's one up on the car owner points as of right now. So it's going to be a tough battle.
I think
for 5 Gs.
I did not know.
Well, it used to be 10.
Yeah. I think it's about 6 points between Carlton and Testerman.
For car owner points?
No, for driver.
Right, okay. So it'll be interesting with Cody having to be out this week, and with if he can repeat champion, or if Testerman's going to pull it off, or
someone else.
The car owner points, I guess, could be a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good would turn out to be different.
But arena race is back this weekend.
Oh yeah.
So do you know what the race is called this weekend?
It's a TNT 200.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a wheel place, I think.
Yeah, and they're doing Valentine's Day. It's any adult gets a kid under 15 age and free.
So
that's a cool deal.
Go to arena racing. Check them out this weekend. Yeah. If you got a kid, with every paying adult, you get in free a kid under 15. But you can't beat that.
Carlton will be back this weekend.
Cody will be back this weekend, and I'm sure he's going to be drive with an vengeance.
Happy to be back. Let's just leave it at that. Happy to be back.
Happy to be back, yeah.
Oh, hey. He was still there working on the car, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, big news. The big news came out today with the NASCAR charters that came out. So a lot of people up in the air a little bit trying to figure out what exactly it means. It doesn't really, to me, it doesn't really make that big a difference in what's going on. Except guys like Tommy Baldwin and Frank Stoddard and those guys. They're locked in. They're locked in. They're guaranteed. In other words, now they don't have to spend speed weeks down there like somebody said today, chewing their fingernails and vomiting trying to see if they're going to make the race. They're in, and but it only leaves 4 spots.
And that will allow them to sell sponsorship comfortably to say, hey, look, we're going to be at all of these races.
Guaranteed.
We're guaranteed in.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he said it was a big deal for them. They love it. Richard Petty said he liked it because both of his teams are now locked in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of good things come out of it. You cannot. The only way you can get a charter now that 36 have been given out is buy it
Or
lease it for 1 year. You can only lease it for 1 year. Yeah. And you can lose your charter.
Yeah, I didn't hear you.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you can lose your charter if you don't show up for, let's say they cut back on their races or they start finishing dead last every week or something like that. You can lose your charter.
That's good. I think it's good that you can lose it.
And so then it would be to the next person or next team down. 3 cars that automatically did not get a charter this time was the 41, the 19, and the 46. But all 3 of those cars now, well, it's not official yet, but it will be by the end of the week, supposedly, that Rob Kaufman is going to sell his 2 charters, one to Joe Gibbs, one to Stuart Haas, and Premium Motorsports is not going to run a Cup car this year, so they're going to go to sell their charter to H. Scott for the 46.
Can you imagine if Kaufman backs out of the deal? How much chaos that would create?
It would create a lot of chaos, but I don't think it'd be in his best interest.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be in his best interest to do it.
Oh no. But
it would be really, really tough
All right,
on him.
So how many charters is there?
36.
There's 36. So that leaves 4 spots because the field went from 43 to 40.
Right.
So then, is there still a champions provisional?
There.
I don't think so.
The question was asked today: was there going to be a champions provisional? They said that has not been worked out yet, but more than likely not.
Yeah.
Because you only have 4 spots left, and they're not going to guarantee one of those spots. So that would leave 3 cars. And I think you got Michael Waltrip going down there of course the 83 is in, but Matt DiBenedetto is going to be in a car that's not going to be in the race.
He's going to race his
He's
way
going
in.
to. Robert Richardson is going to drive another BK car. It's not locked in.
Ryan Blaney.
The 21 is not locked in. Premium Motorsports will have a car at Daytona, but it's not locked in, and I don't think they really care. Well, they just see if they can get in or not.
Yeah.
Mike Hillman's car is going down there. The 40 is going to be down there. Reed Sorensen's driving that car.
But that's locked in.
No, it is not.
No, it's not. No, that's right.
And Mike Hillman.
The 33 got the charter then.
Yeah, that went to the 95 because they merged.
Right, okay.
And Mike Hillman's car, I thought Mike Hillman sold all his stuff over to another team. But he didn't. He sold a lot of equipment.
Right. Didn't sell the team.
Didn't sell the team, but he's going to have a car. Of course, now he's upset. He says, I put all my blood, sweat, and tears in running a car for the last 2 years, or going on 3 years, he said, and I get nothing out of the deal. And, of course, then you took and look at it like the Wood Brothers. The Wood Brothers did not get a deal. They did not get a charter either because they are a part-time team for the last 5-6 years. Yeah,
and I understand that.
Yeah.
And I would have to agree with that.
But
there's other people
agree.
that is.
I agree.
But from what Brian France and all the other folks that were on that stage this morning or this afternoon, they made the comment that they went by 3 things. Number 1, how much money you made in the last 3 years. How many times you attempted to start a race in the last 3 years. And how many races you actually did run in the last 3 years. So, I mean, that pretty much cuts the Wood Brothers out, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I would say Falk has one because they acquired the 33 points that originally came from Childress. So that actual points and team
They're there.
has ran full time for several years.
So they're in, and then they will be with the 95. So they'll.
Well, I think they're running the. They're not running the. Are they running the 95 number?
Yeah.
Yes,
They are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They will run a second car at Daytona with Michael McDowell But that car's not locked in.
Right.
But they'll have a second car there.
Ty will be in.
Ty will be in the 95, and that car is locked in.
Right.
Yeah, this is really into the start and park teams. Well, it kind of.
You could still do it, but you're not going to end up with a charter.
Yeah, if you
Well,
start
you're
and
gonna
park,
end up
it's
with
going
it
that's going to go against you. If you are a charter, if you're not a charter, you could still do the start and park to get money, I guess, to build up to.
Right, but that's not going to last for so long. Because, like I said, you can lose your charter.
Yeah, and they were talking about, like, let's say Go Fast Racing, the 32 has a tough year, and the owner, Frankie Stoddard, decides
Well, Frankie doesn't own that team.
I can make. Well, I mean, he's
He's a
involved.
consultant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's big in the team, and they said Frankie Stoddard. So I mean, that's what I was going on. But they decide, all right, we're gonna sell our charter.
Yeah. Archie acquired that team to 79.
So they said they sell that team. I mean, sell that charter, build the money up, and then move ahead to trying to. There's a lot of things they say you can do now that you couldn't do before.
Mm-hmm. And you got something tangible
And
to sell now.
And those cars are there, and they're in, and they're going to be doing the.
Jason Rudd watched us. Give us some love.
Ricky's son?
Not Ricky's son, AJ's son.
Yeah, AJ. Sorry.
We were
And
talking
then-
about. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, who's going to fill in for Tony Stewart?
I think Alex Bowman. I think a combination of Alex Bowman
'Cause it's gonna be-
and Elliott Sadler.
Several races.
It's gonna be.
It might have. I mean, Elliott would be a good fit. I mean, he's got good speedway experience and the rest of the places. He's in a Chevrolet that already has some Hendrick affiliation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing they were talking about. It's gonna come from over there at JR Motorsports. They know that. They were talking about Ty Dillon, but Ty Dillon's tied into the 95 for Daytona. Whether he would fit in the other car, fit in at later times, who knows? I don't know. But they're saying that it's going to come from Justin Allgaier, Alex Bowman, or Elliott Sadler. And being Daytona, there are a lot of people saying Elliott Sadler.
This is a crazy thought. What about Brett Moffitt?
Man, I ain't heard nothing.
I ain't heard that name.
I haven't either. But I'm thinking about it right now, looking at who's going to have a ride. Brett Moffitt. I don't think David Gilliland has a ride.
No,
He's out. Yeah. And then we got the possibility of I'm drawing a blank. Burton is going Xfinity racing. It looks like.
Yeah,
with,
Richard Petty Motorsports.
That's a
Yeah.
good ride. That's a good deal.
So that's
They haven't really done a whole lot. I don't think. I think it must be an underfunded.
they're going to be
deal.
sponsored by STs at Richmond, and that's all. I mean, at Daytona, and that's the only thing they said they're definite on.
They've got some sponsorship, but not that much.
But there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, I was going through my stuff here.
And then J.J. Yaley, where's J.J. Yaley going to?
He's out ride.
JJ Yaley doesn't even have a Xfinity ride.
Yeah,
this
because
year.
he was with what's his name we had on
JGL Racing.
a couple weeks ago, and apparently with David Reagan coming over to
Yeah.
BK Racing.
Well, I think it's best for JJ to stick to dirt because he's pretty good at.
He is. I mean, but he's had a big head injury there for a while, and it's taken him a long time to come back.
That, yeah.
But I mean, I'm definitely see the reason why Ron Devine, and we'll have Ron next week or a couple weeks.
Next week, hopefully.
Ron Devine, owner of BK Racing, on, and I would certainly agree to have David Reagan. David's a very good fit, and it seems like that small team kind of atmosphere fits in with David.
Mm-hmm.
David's a great,
And
I
what
think,
about,
a great role model for any sponsor.
and what about BK running 4 cars
That's pretty good.
at Daytona this year? They're going to have 4 cars down there. I don't know
guess
where
that
this Robert Richardson.
just come up out of nowhere.
I don't know. I didn't know where that
I
come
mean, he
from.
didn't even run anything for the last 2 years.
No, he's been out
Year
for
and
a
a half?
while, and he got a sponsor, Stalk It.
Well, they've been with him for
Yeah.
a while that I'd read.
But I mean, he's got a sponsor, so that's a big deal. Go to Daytona and have a sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
But
But he's going to have to race his way in.
yeah, he's going to have to race his way in.
What is the entry list like for Daytona? Have y'all seen it yet?
I was just going to say that hasn't been released yet. It probably wouldn't be released until Friday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's probably going to be Friday. Everybody shows up at Daytona on Friday.
Yeah, but that's just it would be.
Everybody's going to Daytona Friday because you got Friday afternoon. You got the unlimited practices,
right,
for the unlimited cars, and then Saturday the regular Cup cars that are going to run the 500. They practice,
and then qualifying.
They qualify Sunday at 1:00.
Yeah,
and then of course you have the ARCA race Saturday night and the unlimited Saturday night. So that's going to be.
And then K&N is K&N Sunday.
K&N Sunday too?
Yeah. No, ARCA and Unlimited are Saturday night.
Yeah, they're Saturday night. I knew they were Saturday night. And going to be and at the K&N field is going to be unbelievable. They got a stacked field for the K&N race this year. That's going to be
Should
big.
be some good racing.
Oh yeah. It's a shame they aren't coming back to Bowman Gray this year.
Yeah. No, I think we got to work on Godovic before Daytona, maybe we can see if we can get him on next week to talk about the plans for his race team this year. First time, full time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It seems like they're getting more and more races filled. They may be full time in Xfinity. I know the kid. I can't think of his name. That's running Daytona. I think they got 3 or 4 races.
Anthony Compton is going to run
from the Euro Series. Yeah.
Yeah, from the Euro Series. They got a good tie with the Euro Series with Brandon going over there late last year and running some races.
Thanks for that.
And then Brandon, I think they've got 6 or 8 races, I think, what I've heard, with Brandon running. So, I mean, it still leaves quite a few races, but that's close to half of the season.
I'm really
it'll be about 10, 12 races. But.
Yeah. I'm really interested in seeing how Rico Abreu does at Daytona in the truck.
But he's not done bad at anything he's been in yet.
No, but he's never been to a track like Daytona. In a truck. Or anything.
Well, driving it one thing, racing it is another.
Yeah.
For Daytona, because essentially the driver, you just sit in there and hold it to the floor. I mean, having a good team behind you or having a fast truck will make a difference. But there's people always there to help you. It's hard to say with Daytona and Talladega.
I think Rico could do good this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could do top 10.
Yeah, I mean he's actually done a really good job, and he's and hell in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just won the Chili Bowl again.
What that was it a back to back?
Yeah, back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's back to back.
I mean he's won in the K&N car.
He is, he's the new thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's kind of looking at him, and I know.
Does he have any? Has he signed with anybody?
Yeah, he's signed with ThorSport.
Right, but I'm talking about a Cup team because generally, sometimes somebody Cup will sign somebody, and then they're sort of locked in, and then they kind of move.
He
them
was
around.
signed with H. Scott for a little while.
That's right.
And then I think that contract was up, and he went over to ThorSport to drive their truck this year.
He was in some races for. Was it H. Scott last year or was it ThorSport? He was in 2 races in.
That was H. Scott's truck.
Yeah. He drove full time in their K&N stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did pretty damn good in that K&N stuff.
He went 2 races.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was 2.
So yeah, I mean, it'd be neat to see how he does.
I want to see William Byron also.
William Byron, you got he's got KBM stuff, so he's going to be pretty tough.
Yeah.
You got Daniel Hemrick and the BKR.
Yeah, Daniel Hemrick and BKR. You got Ben Rhodes is going to be at ThorSport.
Yeah.
He's going to be tough too. I think he's going to have a lot of he's got our 2 guys that Kevin Bellacourt's his crew chief and Davis is car chief. So I've been trying to get a hold of them. I know they're busy right now, so I've been trying to get a hold of them. I'd like to get them on the show pretty soon too, because it'd be really cool to talk to Kevin again.
Mm-hmm. And then we got the Truck Series is trying to implement. They're starting where you can run a lease motor.
Yeah.
I've seen Elton talking about that, and that's going to start in Charlotte. It's 18,000 for a lease, but I don't know how that's going to work. Toyota says they want no part of it. None of their teams will have a lease motor in it because that's like the identity of the manufacturer. So I'd be curious of how that's going to work. I think it's something they're trying to see how it's going to work out.
I think the lower end teams.
Well, they'll benefit from it because it's going to be cheaper to. I know Kyle Busch. They talked to him and said it wouldn't have a bearing on him, but that lease would be about half as much as if you had to go out and do it elsewhere. Yeah. And I think it would level the playing field a little bit because you have some of these teams that are affiliated with Cup, and they're buying these Cup engines. They're having these big teams. They're paying big money, and they're getting a little bit more than what. It'll help control cost.
Yep. And the Toyota guys, you know those guys are coming from, they're coming with the big stuff when they come to
and they have a lot invested in the truck series because that's kind of how they got their start, and they kind of changed the mold of the truck series.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're supposed to have Tom Sneva, but I keep sending him a message and I ain't got nothing back yet, so I don't know what's up with him.
So who we got at 7:30 there?
Max Pappas is supposed to call at 7:30. So
if you guys got a question for Max Pappas, hit us up.
The last racing memory I have of his is not a very good one.
You must be talking about the time the girl slapped him.
I was thinking the same
exactly
thing.
About that, sir.
When you said it, that's what came to mind.
I'm not going to ask him about it because that's a very sore subject.
I'm not asking about it, but
I don't know. I wonder how he got into the steering wheel.
That's what I was going to ask him because that just come out of nowhere too. I mean,
and then how many people call him when the road racings come up, or how much of that does he do? Coaching.
Yeah,
because there's a whole different animal to road racing opposed to what we're used to at racing circle tracks.
Oh yeah.
Points of where you get on the gas, get off, or changing gears. And
now, Joe Staples, if you're out there watching, you could call in and talk to us too. I know you had an experience with Bobby Allison this weekend too.
Well, my understanding, Joe is the new tech director at Wake County.
That's what I've heard.
That's what he told me.
Wake County.
That's a pretty big deal,
That's a real big deal.
So
I'm gonna go up there with my big cheater carburetor.
So if you want to go race and cheat, go on down to Wake County.
It'll be neat. We'll have to go down to Wake County one time. They only run once a month. It's 10 races, but that'll be starting up soon. And that's Friday nights, I think.
Yeah, they're Friday nights,
and then Saturday nights he's gonna be over at Southern National working over there.
We're talking about that. Sunday. Saturday, sorry.
That'd be fun to go. We can go down and hang out with him for a weekend.
Harassing.
Yeah, we go down and hang out with him for a weekend.
Yeah, he's got a spare room, one twin bed for us.
I don't know if I'm gonna.
Nope.
Don't think I'm gonna do that. I'm still having a hard time dealing with the fact that if we go stay with CJ, I ain't sure that's gonna happen.
But racing season is finally
finally here.
Since we've got a minute, we might as well just go on and start good right now.
Let's do it.
Let's go ahead and just since we're waiting on phone calls.
Hold on.
Oh, there's Joe Staples.
I knew he was watching.
Joe Staples.
Hello, Joe.
Yeah, don't be making fun of my new jobs there, buddy.
I mean, it's the only place Scott can go win. Come on.
I gotta turn down the speakers.
So
I
what?
got to meet a legend at the racetrack Saturday. That Reese Noble guy too. Now.
I know he's got like perma smile on right now.
He was talking about some kind of a sexual experience he had with Bobby Allison.
That he did?
Yeah, he said it was just he came out of the bathroom, saw Bobby Allison, spoke to him, and had to go back to the bathroom.
No. I was next to him too.
And I saw a picture of you with Bobby Allison. You had a big grin on your face too, so I was just asking.
Oh, dude, I tell you what, I was happy as a lark, boy. I was
Joe
definitely tickled to meet him.
Yeah, that's a childhood dream right there, ain't it?
Yeah, well, I got to race with Clifford and Davey Bonnet down in Montgomery, Alabama, and then of course Red Farmer was the crew chief, and I always wanted, hoping that one day he would show up at the track there. Of course, he never did, but it was definitely awesome to see all of them. Now I've actually met. I got to meet Donnie. Oh God, when was it? Probably about 10 or 15 years ago. So now I finally got to meet the whole clan. Definitely, it was a great experience at arena racing with Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
To see Davy's son. That was definitely a big thing for me. So how's it going in you guys' world?
Good. So how is when is the Wake County stuff start up?
Well, I missed Mike again this weekend. I should say last weekend, because I was at arena racing. He was down the street. But we're starting, I want to say, towards the end of March. They had to finalize some of the rules and stuff like that for the divisions. And that's what they did 2 weekends ago. And I haven't seen that yet. But hopefully I get to hook up with Mike in 2 weeks and get that all figured out.
I've
definitely been swamped with the move and job. I still got 2 more weeks of the moving stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
And once I get that all done, life will be normal in North Carolina for a change.
Are you still going to finish the year out at arena racing?
I'm going to try my best to do it. I kind of promised Chris and Tommy Lee that I would do everything I could to help, because they're definitely overwhelmed with Southside and Dominion starting up as well too, so they're going to be stretched pretty thin. I don't know what my complete schedule is with Southern Nationals and with Wake County yet, but as long as it doesn't interfere, I will be doing the arena racing. Yes, I love it, man. That's where I get my first start. I think it's some of the most exciting racing there is.
Well, we appreciate, we really like it, the fact that we made you what you are today. And
you know what? And guys, hats off to you. I appreciate everything you guys have done for me, man.
And now, I just need to ask you one question. I don't know if I ought to ask you on camera or not, but when's the other half coming up?
She's actually going to be here March the 5th. Going to spend the week.
Okay, are you going to bring her up here to introduce them to us, or what?
Yes, that's what my plan is. She said she wanted to meet the legendary Starton Park, and I said, "Baby doll, I will take you to this man."
He'll be parked right there.
All right, we're gonna let it go on that note, then.
I had to get my plug in for it, man, because I have brought that racing hero back to life again.
Yeah, you sure did.
Well, hey, when we come to Southern National or Wake Forest, you're gonna have to introduce him to everybody.
Oh, I will. They'll definitely know the legend before he gets up there.
Thank you for introducing me.
All right, we're gonna let it go now. All right.
All right, hey guys.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later. Go back to sleep.
See you, Joe.
All right, man. Bye.
He's a character. I'm not sure which character.
He's something else. Ain't no doubt about that.
Yeah, Joe's a good guy. All
right. Well, while we're waiting on hopefully a phone call.
But we got 1 minute, so hopefully he'll call here in a minute.
Let's do the Unlimited. Who we think's going to win the Unlimited? Now, what we do here, Reese, you're new to this. We each pick a car that's in the Unlimited, and whoever comes closest to winning gets the win for that week. Okay? That's for us.
Okay.
And then I'm going to let you pick first, since you wasn't here last year. We're going to let you pick first.
Because you're the rookie.
And I won last year, so I'm going to pick last.
He had to put it in there. He won.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Who's all into the limited?
I was about to say.
I mean, all the big names. I mean, pretty much everybody.
And you got the 13 is in the place of the 24. The 24 is not in. And the 17 is in for the 14.
Kozlowski.
All right, Reese is going with Keselowski. All right, Scott.
I'm gonna go with the 41. I almost was on Danica because Danica runs good at these plate tracks.
It was either gonna be Larson, Danica, or Kozlowski. I'm not touching Danica with a 10-foot pole. Not in that way, at least.
You know, I'm gonna go to a little bit of a different tune here, and I'm going Jimmy Johnson.
Okay.
No, he's going out on a limb.
I'm surprised none of us took Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott's not in it.
Oh, you're right.
Chase Elliott's not in it. He's not in it this year.
You're right.
So, anyway, I tell you what, I'm gonna stop dealing with these people.
You want to do Daytona 500 while we're at it?
No, because I want to see how they're gonna be running next week before we do Daytona 500.
We got next week, and we'll do that.
Yeah, we got a week for that. They qualify Sunday, so we'll know a little bit, you know. And they're gonna do a lot of yeah. We're gonna see a little bit of practice.
I have an idea that'll be a first-time Daytona 500 winner. So no Junior, no Johnson, no Logano, no Jamie Mack
You seeing a pure first-time winner?
at Daytona at least.
Okay, a first-time Daytona
Yeah.
winner. If I had to go with something like that, I would say Dave Blaney.
You mean Ryan Blaney?
Yeah, Ryan Blaney.
Because
Yeah,
Dave Blaney
Dave-
ain't winning no cup races here.
No. I'll tell you, Ryan's
Ryan, yeah.
is a good shoe.
Yeah.
I mean,
He has a good head on his shoulders also.
he does, and I think he's going to do well. The rookie class is going to be pretty good.
It's going to be Blaney and Brian Scott, Chase Elliott,
Chris Buescher.
Chris Buescher.
Mhm.
Is Ty Dillon eligible for
No,
rookie of
Ty
the year?
He's not running for rookie.
He's
of the
not
year.
running. He's going to run 5 races,
Okay.
but
I mean, that rookie class is a good class.
I mean, you got an also ran, Jeffrey Earnhardt, but there's no chance.
Jeffrey Earnhardt's not really a rookie in my opinion.
Well,
he's
they
ran
haven't
enough
done rookie of the
races.
year.
He's ran enough races that he, and I don't think he's eligible either.
Yeah. Well, I've seen where he is. I might just be going blind though. Who knows?
Well,
You're going to the exact same place I was going.
but the rookie class is pretty damn stout.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they got up the rookie class.
They
I'm
do.
trying to think who.
It's on the driver chart. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It's Jeffrey Earnhardt, Chris Buescher, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Brian Scott.
Yeah, I mean, I think the two, because they're filling big shoes, is going to be Ryan Blaney and
Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott.
I mean, there were a few races last
And-
year when I thought Ryan Blaney might get a top 5, top 10.
Although, I mean, I don't think it would happen. There could be a situation where the 21 doesn't make the race.
Yeah.
That's a real possibility
It
every
is,
week.
it is.
Yeah,
I mean, you're fighting with 4 cars. Although,
he's done well in qualifying. That's one thing.
Well,
he's done
yeah.
well in qualifying.
they have a really good program. And I'm interested to see how Furniture Row is going to do this year.
Oh yeah.
With the alliance with Joe Gibbs, and it's kind of like it's kind of like the 21 team, because my understanding, the 78 car is been at Joe Gibbs, being worked on, set up. I don't know how much compared to what they used to do, what Joe Gibbs is doing, but it's a full-on satellite Joe Gibbs team. So they're getting a lot of information and a lot of resources from Joe Gibbs.
I understand that Cole Pern and most of the team have been there about a couple
lot.
weeks now.
Yeah, Kyle had said the other day when he walked in the shop, they had the 78 car there on the surface plate or on the setup plate, and they were working on it.
And another thing, Martin Truex, girlfriend doesn't have chemo or doesn't have cancer anymore.
Correct.
He can focus on just racing.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could be in the top 4 or final 4 again this year.
Well, I mean, that's what he did last year. So, I mean, there's not very much further that he could go besides being a champion. He won a couple of races. They contended. They went all the way to Homestead, eligible for the championship. And they had their worst run in Homestead. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's still for what they have and where they started, that's a heck of a run for that team. That's just as well as winning a championship. I mean, they won a few races.
It was a big deal to be at the spot they were in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
those guys knew that it was a big deal for them. So
To race against the teams they were trying to race against for the championship.
unbelievable.
And hell, they're at one time and they were running 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think, or 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, and
They were-
5.
yeah, they were.
Something like that. Crazy. But it'd be interesting how that team, if they can not miss a beat and continue.
It was, and I was at Homestead, and it was funny down there to see how all 4 of those teams for that chase race, that last race, the championship race, how they went about things.
Yeah.
You know, you had Kyle Busch. They were probably the most laid back team.
Really?
They're just like, you know, this.
Well, it probably felt like it was a bonus them being there.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like there was no big
yeah.
deal to them. The 24, I think, if you want my opinion on it, I think the 24 overthought the whole thing. They were so wanting to win it so bad, and they thought they were in a position that they could do it without a whole lot of hassle. They bring in all these people for that weekend. There's too many. I think it was they went against what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So I think that was
They changed the way they did.
Yeah, I don't think that worked out for them. And then the other car,
Harvick.
I don't think anything ever affects them guys. But you could tell they were all about their business.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went over to the 78, and that's where I kind of hung out because I knew a couple of those guys over there, and you could tell tension was really big over there. So you know, it was just funny, and they were all parked right there together. And it was, you know, you could just stand there and watch all 4 of them, how they were doing stuff.
Could you imagine the pressure that you would feel in that, you know?
That's probably like a playoff game.
Well,
Absolutely.
I can tell you about how
Well, it's a Super Bowl.
I can tell you about how some of the team felt about it, because from what I understand, they didn't eat that whole week leading into it.
Oh man.
I could imagine.
Went out to eat the night before the race, ordered food and couldn't eat it.
I probably won the O2
You know, I could imagine, especially if it's like your first championship.
Oh, yeah.
How much pressure you feel. I mean, I can remember my first race win, and man, my first arena car win. I can remember the last few laps that I was so nervous that I don't know, man, my legs are shaking, and you know, because it's a big deal to win. I just can't imagine, you know, winning a little arena car race. Couldn't imagine being running for a Sprint Cup champion, you know, or championship. The pressure that you would feel,
And just being there and being as close to the 24 team as I was, you know, I don't know how them guys did it, but I was nervous, and I wasn't even part of it. You know.
Yeah. Now, who do you think is going to be the team to beat this year?
The overall team to beat this year.
Honestly, I don't think there's but one overall team.
No, I can't think of. I can think of 3 that will contend with each other. I can't think of one overall team. You mean one overall organization or one single team?
One team. Well, the organization now. That's unless things really change, it's going to be Gibbs again. I mean,
That's what I think. I mean, you got the 4 guys plus you add Truex to the mix. I mean, they have great equipment.
Oh yeah.
You got Kyle Busch that's got that confidence. He's won a championship, so he's got that little confidence. And I think his confidence level after going through and then having his son, and he's cut back his truck schedule. He's cut back. Well, he's not running any trucks. I don't think.
He's not.
No. He's cut back the Xfinity races he's doing.
Yeah.
So I think he can concentrate more on the car.
And per Gibbs, he will not be in another vehicle other than his Cup car at Daytona this year.
It's a good idea. I don't like the drivers going down to the lower series. I say lower.
I disagree. Because if they didn't go down, there wouldn't be
It doesn't get nearly as much exposure.
Yeah, it doesn't get
I agree with that.
They don't get the attention they would if you didn't have a Kyle Busch dropping back to Xfinity every now and then.
Yeah.
And,
Now, maybe not as much as some of them do.
So every
Yeah,
now
I
and
think
then,
they ought to limit it. But,
not 85% of the races.
Right. I
But-
agree with that.
but then again, if a sponsor wants a Cup driver to run an Xfinity race,
And that's
he's
what
going to throw
happens.
his money out there, that's what he wants.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And who is it? Who's going to say? I know NASCAR's not going to turn it away.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, they're not.
NASCAR's not going to turn it away. They'd be crazy to turn away the type of money that some of these Xfinity guys are getting for the big name Xfinity guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, but we talk about the Joe Gibbs. I mean, you got Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards,
Yeah.
Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and then you're going to put Martin Truex in the mix, sharing information with those
And
guys.
damn, the 5th car for Eric Jones later this year.
I mean, that's an
a-
all-star team right there.
Yeah.
And, and I think you're going to have to go through those guys. I think Harvick and those guys are still going to be
And then
hard to beat because it
and-
seems like nothing affects those guys.
But those guys were the cream of the crop last year. Mm-hmm. And Truex was with another situation last year, but still he was one of the top.
right.
So you put all that together, and it kind of overshadows the Hendrick connection with the 4 Hendrick drivers and then the 4 Stewart Haas drivers.
Unless
I think Harvick is the cream of the Stewart Haas organization.
Yes.
You have to look at it that way.
Now he is. Now he is.
Yeah, so you have to look at it that way, and I don't think Casey Kane has not done a whole lot since he's been
that's
there.
what I was-
And so there you've automatically crossed him out. This year, Chase Elliott is
we
not.
don't know
we don't
how
know,
he's going to do.
And to be totally honest about Chase Elliott, let's just be honest about it.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to go through a learning curve, and he's going. I mean, think about what he did at Martinsville.
Well, that's what I was going to
Yeah.
say. To be completely honest, his few starts in Cup has been disappointing to me. I expected more of that. I don't know how much. I know they had a lot of money. I don't know how much effort went into those Cup races.
I think it was just trying. I don't know. It might just be getting him comfortable in the seat.
Well, that's exactly what it was. But the thing is, there was a big budget for those cars
Oh, yeah.
for him to be in those races.
Well, I keep going back. Look at Eric Jones. Those couple Cup races he ran. This kid way overachieved.
Oh yeah.
But I will say too, the team that he jumped into was running every week,
yeah.
opposed to what the 9 team did there.
Yeah, well, Chase, I mean, you look at what Chase's team that he had for that race. I mean, there was not a real.
It was pretty good.
I mean, it
was some put together people, but it wasn't a full time team.
It wasn't a full time team. Either pit crew was even a backup pit crew from years ago.
Right.
And I mean, I'm not trying to tell Jeff Knight he's old and decrepit, but he is old and decrepit. But I mean, Jeff Knight was on the team, and you had Pete Wright, but you had an ace number 1 crew chief over there. Lance
and a
McGrew,
car chief.
Kenny Francis and Lance McGrew were. I mean, they were the cream of the crop.
What I'm really scared of is all the Bill Elliott fans who may have been out of NASCAR for a few years, who are coming back because of Chase Elliott. If he doesn't do great, they're going to get really upset. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Well,
I think he will do well.
I think
just-
he'll do
it's
well.
just-
Yeah.
Don't know how well he will do.
He's not going to light the world on fire.
I mean, he did
Yeah,
well in
who
the
knows?
Xfinity car. We got to give it to him. He won
He won
the
a silver,
championship in his rookie year.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
the kid obviously can drive. Of course, the next year he didn't do that well, but somebody took his crew chief.
Yeah, Dale took his crew chief, so that kind of.
I mean, he's won everything he's ever driven. He won Snowball Derby. He's won All American 400, I believe. Trucks, Xfinity.
It'll just be curious to see how he does. To me,
I look at it as Chase Elliott's good. Eric Jones is next level good. Except he needs to mature a little bit.
who Eric Jones?
Eric.
I don't know. The kid seems to be. He acts very mature.
But he does put his heart on his sleeve every now and then. But if you didn't have that for a young driver coming along, you'd be a little concerned about it.
Yeah. Well, I remember him and Casey Kane at Charlotte in the truck race. He was a little. I'm not gonna say whiny, well,
that's just kind of a personality. I mean, Jeff Gordon's a whine. He whines.
it reminds me.
I mean, he does. He is a whiner, and he'll sell you too.
Yeah.
I'm a whiner.
Well, it seems like he wanted the blame on everything else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got beat fair and square, and it was really close. You can't really complain. Well, you can complain about it.
But you know what? A lot of the good drivers, they can't settle for that.
Yeah.
And that's what makes them exceptional.
All right. We finally have a call.
So who we got?
This is J.A. Jr., I hope.
7, 9, 8, 1. Say answer.
Hello, and welcome to Jack Dodsons Racing Insider News. Who we got here?
Jay Jr., how are you guys?
Hey, we're great. How you doing up in your neck of the woods?
I'm good. How about you guys?
We're great. So, look, man, you got a lot going on in the next week or so, so you better let us know what's going on with you.
Nothing much. I was just out having dinner with those two guys and then came out here to do an amazing interview with you guys.
Well, tell us about what kind of racing you got set up for them. I mean, I know you're going to be doing the ARCA race and the K&N race, right?
Yes, sir. Thursday night. We'll start off Thursday night at 4 with practice with the ARCA Racing Series at Daytona, and then the race will actually be Saturday with ARCA Racing Series, and now on Sunday I'll jump over to Vista Irma and do the K&N Series with Rev Racing.
Wow! So tell us a little bit about the Rev Racing deal there. It had to be good for you to be one of those people picked this year for the Rev Racing to drive for diversity.
Oh, it's an amazing program. You know, I can't done it with NASCAR and how everybody's involved over there. I mean, they choose it. It was a really hard decision this year with so much talented drivers that went. You know, Ruben Garcia, that was one of the drivers that got chosen. He was a Mexico Series champion. Then Colin, that won the last race at Dover. He's an extremely talented over there. There's a lot of brand new people that they brought from different teams to help make this program better. And it's just, every year it keeps improving, you know, and hope we win bring a championship home this year.
Now, I saw you out at the combine at Langley. I was out there at the same time. Tell us a little bit about how the combine went for you, how you feel, and what your feelings were about the combine.
Well, it was my second time around going to the combine, so my expectations were my first year. I took a lot of notes, and I came to the second year a lot more prepared than my first one. And you know, the first day was pretty fun. You know, went to the university at Hampton University in Virginia. I did some media stuff with the colleges and stuff like that. And then Tuesday, we had a physical fitness and stuff like that, and had a lot of fun. And then that same day, I think it was, we had a test on track and stuff. And we were, I think, it was me. I was second fastest, and the first fastest actually was Juan Garcia. He was another Colombian, so he was chosen for the late model series. So we were representing Colombia pretty good.
You got that right. You guys were doing a great job out there. I was kind of timing some of you, not the whole time, but I know you were one of the quickest ones out there, and it was. I mean, it's a good thing there to be working with a guy like Jefferson Hodges and all those people over there with Rev to be able to put that together.
Oh yes, Jefferson and Mark Green, as I treat you, you know, those two guys over there, they're the brains of that team, you know. And then when they brought this class that they chose this year, they're really excited. They have really high expectations. They're not taking anything for granted. You know, they're expecting us to win races and hopefully a championship. So I hope that's what I can get delivered to them. So
Jay, how did you get your start in racing? Did your father race, or are you in a racing family, or are you the first generation?
No, I'm the first generation. I'm the awkwardly weird one in the family. You know?
I could tell by that one picture.
Yeah, I like to have more fun and stuff like that. Energetic. My dad, my parents are from Colombia, so I'm the first generation born here in America. But he did a lot of marathon. He was a runner back in the day.
Okay.
So I think that's where I kind of get my sportive, my energy from. So it kind of leaned into racing, I guess.
So where did you start, and how did you get started? So where did you first get into racing?
I started out in California. I started racing about 5.5 years old at Riverside at Adams Court Track Speedway. Court Track, actually. And then I raced a few races there, and then moved up to LAKC with Hudson Montana, right across the street from the Speedway.
And then up to, was it about 13 or 14, I started racing bandoleros. One state championship in that. And then about the age of 15, or 14, was it 15? Yeah, 15. I moved up to legend cars and raced through the guy out of Vegas of name of TJ Clark. And he helped me a lot of championships and stuff like that. And then moved up to the more modifieds, Lucas Oil modifieds, and we did, and it's just been up and going. You know, a lot of people have been helping me out, and I'm glad to be here today.
So is this your first time this year going to be here on the East Coast racing?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
And so what? How long? So you've moved to Charlotte area, I'm assuming.
Yeah, last week I moved out to Kannapolis, North Carolina. So I'm liking the new change, but I'm not liking the weather. It's like really, really cold.
Yeah, the weather's a little different. So
it's 75 degrees.
So how many people have said you have an accent?
Not a lot of people.
No.
What?
I can't hear it.
I can't hear.
Well, I figured that being down at Charlotte area, I mean, they talk a little different than us up here in Virginia. So.
But no, I haven't got the 20 yet.
So have you gone out and experienced the Charlotte nightlife yet?
No, not yet. You know, I've been really busy with both teams, you know, with Rev Racing and the Lear Motorsports team. I've just been back and forth, you know, trying to get these cars prepared. I've been at the shop working on them, helping the teams make their lives easier because they bust their butts for me. So I've been kind of busy. Right now I'm in Daytona trying to get ready because tomorrow we got to load trailers and stuff. So it's been a kind of busy week.
So I heard you use iRacing to help you get ready for races.
Yes, I did, actually. It really helped me a lot. So I haven't had the chance to practice lately, but like the last race I did with Kansas, I was practicing a lot, and it helped a lot, and ended up with a good result. Now
you're getting ready to head to Daytona, and I know you went down for the test at Daytona too, right?
Yes, sir.
So how did that go for you? I mean, was that the first time you'd been on the big track at Daytona?
Oh yes, it was. It was an amazing. It was an amazing feeling. You know, when we went out the backstretch, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fun. And then once you go in that corner, I mean, you're literally about 45 degrees. Always I thought if you lifted, you always must fall down to the pavement.
So when you went around the first time, it's kind of funny. Bill Dennis, I heard the story when Bill Dennis went to Daytona for the first time. He said he had to take his left foot and hold it on top of his right foot so he didn't lift going in the corner.
No, I really didn't have that because I trust my team. You know, they built these cars strong and well prepared, so I really didn't have that much nerve. So I the situation I've been in. So I know I was laying there fast forward, hope it stuck, and it did. So, and then I went to the next turn, did the same thing.
Well, look, now how's it going to be for you to run the big track at Daytona and then go to New Smyrna? I mean, that's just that's a complete opposite.
Yes, it is. It is. But no, I got two great teams. You know, two top-notch teams. I wouldn't be surprised if we got 2 wins in a weekend. You know, Roush Performance, you know, supporting Lear Motorsports, and then how Toyota supporting Rev Racing. You know, how everything they do for me, and then it's a well-prepared organization, and we'll go after good. Hopefully, they get the win.
Now, when you look at the K&N East schedule this year, what are some of the places that you're looking at that you may have a problem with? You're kind of apprehensive of, maybe I should say, and then a place where you think you're really going to be good at.
I'm looking. My main focus hopefully will be the first race. You know, I'm just taking it step by step, lap by lap. You know, like the first race, I'll focus on New Smyrna, and then the next one, and the next one. But I'm doing it one race at a time. You know, have my main focus on each event. Don't want to get ahead of myself. So.
Now, will you be doing a lot of iRacing to preparing for these races?
Hopefully, yeah. If I have the time, hopefully.
Now, you strike me as a prankster.
Oh boy.
Is that true?
A little bit, once in a while. She doesn't like it. She gets mad at me.
You strike me as that type, which is that's me. So that's good. I see that.
Yeah, you know, you always gotta have fun in life. You know, my dad tells me you only live once. You know, you gotta enjoy the moment. You know, like right now, how with all the amazing opportunities that people are giving me right now, you gotta make the best of it. You know, So just make fun what he has.
Now, where were you at when you got the call that Rev Racing, you made the cut, and what was that? Who was the first person you called?
Oh, well, actually, I was testing that same day. I was at New Sonoma testing with Lear Motorsports. And they called me about 20 times. It was Christy. She was a PR person. She blew up my Facebook. She blew up my emails. She blew up my phone. And then during lunchtime, I went over to my phone, and I thought there was a bunch of text messages. I'm like, holy smokes, who is this? So I called the number back, and it was the people from Rev. So, no, I got the call, and he told me when I got in, I was emotional. I went to my dad first, and he started cheering up. He does a lot of work for me. He sacrifices a lot for me. So, it was a good moment.
Well, we're hoping we're going to get to see you real soon when you come. I know we'll try to catch you at Dominion and maybe down at Virginia International Raceway when you come down there. Can't wait to see you. Good luck to you at Daytona. We'll be watching. And maybe...
oh, yes, please. When I'm in Virginia, please let me know, and I'll come down to the station, and we'll do another interview. How about that?
I'll definitely be at Dominion.
Well, hey, that'll be great. And I'll tell you what, I may even give you a call first of the week if you do pretty good and want to get back on here and tell us how things went. We'll be glad to have you back.
Awesome. Yes, awesome. That's a big 10-4. I always like talking to people.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate it, and you go back and eat your dinner now. We'll let you go.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right, you too, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, man.
All right, bye-bye.
See, the Carolina twang is one thing. This kid got to have barbecue, though, right? He's had barbecue now, I hope.
I would imagine, but I mean, he is on the chip.
He's all right.
He seems like he's going to be fun.
I'm going to have to pull this kid. I might pull for this kid this year.
Oh, yeah.
He's wide open, man.
I mean, I'm going to Dominion. I'm going to VIR. Shit.
Yeah, we'll definitely be there. So that'll be fun to see because he's going to be fun to hang around.
Oh,
he
yeah.
sounds like he has a good head on.
Oh, yeah.
And he was, when he was out at Langley,
Mm-hmm.
him and Ruben Garcia were the two top fastest people out there. And it's the first time he'd ever been in a late model out there on a track like that, he said.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, took him a minute to figure out, but once he figured it out, he was fast.
That's where iRacing comes in.
Do we have anybody else coming on?
Yeah, Dorsey Schrader's supposed to call us at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
But hey, the way things are going tonight, I'm not really sure if that's going to happen.
That's what I was wondering.
I mean, I specifically talked to Tom Sneva today. Yes, I'm going to call you. He ain't called. Max Pappas's PR girl said, I'll have him call you. He didn't call.
Nope.
But I'll send him another message, and I'm going to get him on here one way or the other.
Yeah. I think both of them will be fun to have.
You know who I'd love to have on is Justin Haley. JJ. Whatever he's calling himself now. Justin Haley.
We've had him on here before.
No, me.
Oh, he's pretty good too. Of course, we went down and saw his trucks down at Brom.
Yeah. In the wrong shop.
We went in the wrong shop. But I'd be interested to see if this kid may be the real deal.
Who? J.A.?
J.A. Jr.
How old is he now?
20.
20? Yeah, okay.
1905. He will be 21 in May 11th, according to his Facebook page.
Oh, it's good to know you're creeping on over there.
I see you.
No,
here we go.
Call from 5732.
Good evening and welcome to Jack Dodsons Racing Insider News with me, Jack Dodson, and Scott Allen and Reese Nobles. And is this Dorsey?
It is indeed.
How you doing, sir? It's an honor to talk to you.
I'm doing great. How you guys?
We're doing wonderful. And I tell you, I wanted to get you on here because you are probably one of the guys that I look at a lot. And when I do pay attention to the road racing, you were the cream of the crop back in the road racing days.
I've been there a long time. I know that.
You got. Go ahead.
I just want to ask you real quick, what's it like to win in Indianapolis?
Running any of the big speedways in front of a big crowd is unbelievable. I mean, Daytona, Indianapolis, Charlotte, any of them, it is just a special deal. There's no doubt about that.
So, tell us a little bit how you got started in racing and what all kinds of racing you've been involved in.
Well, my dad, when I was just a youngster growing up in St. Louis, my father was a car dealer, and he'd been racing stuff, midgets and sprint cars and dirt cars and like that. Got into drag racing for a while and did that. With the car dealership, we ended up taking on a foreign car line back with Fiat Abarth and Alfa Romeo back in, I'm talking in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s. So I was always around racing. I was always around sports cars. With my father being there, it just was a natural progression. I also was very fortunate that Sports Car Club of America, SCCA, was changing the ruling. Before you had to be 21 years old to attend a driver's school or to do any kind of competition in the United States, you had to be 21 years old. Well, I was only about to turn 18 when they changed that rule to allow 18-year-olds to participate. And I was the first one ever in the United States to get a license back in 1971. And so it just fell in place.
So you've raced a lot of different cars, lots of different tracks. What's your favorite track of all time?
You know, Ray, I just have fun racing no matter what it was. I just get to drive everything. I drove open wheel sprint cars and midgets and, Indy type cars. And then I got into stock cars and ran in NASCAR, ran in IROC. Yeah, racing's racing. I mean, it's fun no matter what you're doing. Trans Am, when I won the championship for Jack Roush in '89, those cars were at that time really probably the coolest cars. They were really fun to drive, and the competition was fierce. And you end up banging into each other quite a bit and really fighting hard. So that was a real good time in my career. Winning that championship certainly didn't hurt anything.
So when you look back over your career and everything that you've done in racing, would you have liked to have done more NASCAR stuff? I mean I've seen you run the Cup cars and ARCA cars and everything. I've seen you run just about everything. Would you like to have done more NASCAR?
We tried so hard to get into NASCAR full time after I already won the Trans Am championship in '89, and I came back with another championship in '90. In IMSA, at '91, I tried to turn to NASCAR. And that time, that generation that I was in back then, the more experienced drivers were preferential. So guys they'd be looking like guys for Earnhardt Sr. and guys who had a lot of experience under their belt. And the sad news was it cost just as much money to sponsor Dorsey Schrader as it did Dale Earnhardt Sr. So the money wasn't as easy as it is. Well, it's not easy now either, but it certainly was different then, and the way things were looked at were different. Ford Motor Company and Jack Roush helped me a great deal, and we tried to put a full year together, and I drove a lot of Fords. I drove for Robert Yates, and I drove for Cale Yarborough. I drove for Richard. I drove for Bill Elliott and Harry Melling, and just all the top Ford teams had a go at me. But unfortunately, we could never get a sponsor deal to stick for the whole year. So I did a lot of fill-in work. Dick Trickle and a million other guys did well. I can't complain. We had really good finishes, but just couldn't get a full year to stick. And in the meantime, the road racing was doing me a pretty good job too. So it just what stuck. It wasn't planned that way, but that's just how it went down.
How do you feel about when you would come over to NASCAR and run against the NASCAR guys? And at first, the NASCAR guys probably had a little bit of a problem with the road racing a little bit. There were some guys who were really good at it. But how did you feel about being called a road race ringer? I mean, that's all I ever heard. I mean, that's just they always brought you and Max Pappas and some of these guys in, and all they kept saying was road race ringers.
It was a compliment, to be even noticed in that same crowd. And a lot of that had to do, I think, also with I was driving for Jack Roush on the Trans Am side. And, of course, Jack had Mark Martin running with the Folgers car back then in '89. And so I had some respect from the guys because I was there. I also grew up with Kenny Schrader and Musty Wallace in the same town. So those guys knew me. And I got the invite to run in IROC in 1990 and then 1991 again. And so guys were becoming aware that the stock car guys were becoming aware that, I was there one way or another. And so it Ford Motor Company, we had a bunch of guys. We had Jeff Bodine, Brett Bodine, Davey Allison, Mark Martin, me, Bill Elliott, all driving Fords, and we were all buddies, and so that didn't hurt anything. Let's put it that way.
So, Dorsey, how did you get started in the racing in the beginning?
Well, just because my dad, had the car dealership, and he was a racer, and he raced, what turned into midgets, and they were modifieds back then. But he got into drag racing, did some stuff, had a Ford dealership, and we took on a foreign car line, Fiat and Alfa Romeo, and next thing you know, we got involved in sports car racing, and I was just at the right age, the right place, at the right time, and that's pretty much all I ever wanted to do, and it's all I've ever done.
How did you just start out in kind of the road racing, or did it just become a natural fit for you?
Yeah, I started out in road racing. We had the sports car line, so we had a guy that named Ramo Johnson. He's passed on now, but he came in and was a sales manager, and he was racing FCCA stuff, and so he got my dad interested, and then I got interested. Next thing you knew, we were all interested. And then at one time, my dad was just retired from driving, but I was driving. My younger brother Tony was driving. My best friend Ronnie was driving. We're all, every weekend out there just beating heads, and it turned into, it just turned into the way things went. It wasn't planned to go that way necessarily, but it's just the way life took me.
Now, as good as you were at a road racer, did people call you to help them with their road racing skills, like in the Cup Series?
Absolutely. Yeah, even Ford Motor Company, would hire me, and I'd go in and we'd go up to, Summit Point or the Sears Point out in California, which is now, they change names on these tracks all the time.
Yeah.
But I'd go up there and have a couple 3-day tests with some of the Ford drivers, trying to get them tuned up, and try to help those guys with some skills for road racing. And like I said, I was really good friends with Rusty Walsh. Rusty was a really good road racer. Mm-hmm. His brother Mike wasn't particularly good, so Mike would always come and seek me out. And Dick Trickle hated road racing; he just couldn't stand it. So he just hired. He didn't want to hear about it. He just said, "Get in the car and have it." And that was good for me. Didn't mind that.
What was the hardest things to try to teach them? Because I'm sure as circle track drivers, as most of us here are, we create some type of bad habit that would probably, do disservice on road course. So what were some of the habits that you have to try to change?
The hardest things back with the older cars was, the way the cars were built, a lot of them were not built as a road race car. I think probably Jack Roush was one of the first guys that built a specific car for a road race track. And that had a lot to do with the ability to shift the car. Trying to get those guys to shift, they just never had to downshift at all. And they essentially, you had a 4-speed gearbox, and the gearboxes were pretty frail. They weren't very good. And when you started shifting them, if you didn't match the gears exactly right, the gears would break. And so there was a lot of failures due to transmission failures. You get the rear axle hopping, you get down in the brake zone and mismatch a downshift, and all of a sudden the back axle would be jumping up and down. Nobody dealt with that, before Jack came along. And, nowadays the cars are a lot better. The gearboxes are a whole lot better. That now you don't even have to use a clutch anymore. But I guess teaching guys the rhythm of downshift in the car and where to do it and when to do it, and get, without relieving the brake pressure, still brake as hard as you could. Brakes weren't very good either back then, for that matter. You had a lot of brake failure crashes. Everybody did. So, it was just trying to keep the car under you and not hurt the car in those road racing situations. It was hard to teach those guys because they only did it twice a year. We'd run out there in Sears Point and we'd go down to Watkins Glen. And that was the only 2 times a year they had to shift until they started shifting at Pocono.
When you and Boris Sid and Max Pappas and all you guys would go into a NASCAR races as the road race ringers, was there a lot of competition between you guys too, just to see who would come out on top?
Oh yeah, there was no question. Me and Ron Fellows too, another one. We'd all, you didn't want to overstep your boundaries. We wanted to try, each one of us, to try to get a pole position or put the car up front. But man, if you put too much pressure on, you get some pressure back. Let's put it that way. Those guys would let you know pretty quick, where you stood in the ranking
racing. And so, yeah, but there was definitely pressure. Well, we were really good friends because Ron Fellows, myself, and Boris are all teammates at Ford at one time or another.
Okay.
You know, Tommy Kendall as well. And, you know, there was a bunch of, Max came along after the fact later on. But we were definitely a fraternity amongst ourselves. And when we went to IROC, it showed up there. You'd have the NASCAR guys, and they'd all help each other, drafting and so forth. And you'd have the road race guys, and we'd be trying to help each other also to run with them. So it was good competition. Let's say it was really good.
Dorsey, what are you doing now as far as racing? What are you into now?
You know what's crazy about that? I hadn't driven anything. I retired and didn't do a single race for 14 years. And then I was doing television for Fox Sports and did that for 18 years with Speed Channel and Speed Vision and all that. And when that all fell apart, all of a sudden I got a call from a guy, and he said, what would you think about being a race director? I said, what's a race director do? And how much money does he make? You know, and so they said, well, you got to do this and this is mine. I said, okay, I can do that. And so I became race director for historic sports car racing, HSR.
Okay.
And that got me going a few years back, about 3 years ago. And then now I'm race director for Pirelli World Challenge, which is a much bigger professional deal. So I'm doing that. But in the meantime, they drove me back behind the wheels of a car for a charity deal. And I had a good time with it. And so I'm driving 3 or 4 races a year at 63 years old. You know, we just ran last week, a couple weeks back at Daytona 24-hour, came in 8th, which was good.
Yeah.
You know, we're with a team that's called 50 Plus Racing. It should be 60 plus now, but when they did it was 50 plus. But there's nobody on the team that's in their 50s but one guy. I think everybody else is in their 60s. But we do a fair job, and it's kind of good. We go out there and do the best we can do with what we have, and it's neat to get behind the wheel and run again. I'll be honest.
Yeah. As long as it's fun.
It's fun, yeah. That's the whole thing, and that's what we tell ourselves too. You know, we're not going to outrun anybody for the pole. We're not going to outrun anybody in the race. But if we're smarter than them, if we don't wreck the car and don't do the things that the young guys seem to, do a lot, we might get a good finish. And so the last couple of years, we've had top 10 finishes in every race, and that's pretty darn good, really, when you consider what we're working with and how we're going about business.
Now, do you still have guys that in those races come to y'all for advice?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, it's kind of funny. You get old in your body, but the mind stays a young man. Mm-hmm. So I feel the same way I always have. You know, I go out there and I'm just a kid like the rest of them, but they don't treat me that way anymore. You know, I've been doing this 45 years now, so they come and ask advice and talk about the good old days. I said, and that's what's funny about this historic sports car racing. I said, there's nothing historic about it if you were doing it like I was. I said, these are the cars I always drove.
Right.
It's only historic if you were born in the last 16, 18 years.
Yes.
Which I wasn't.
Well, you've done a lot in your career as far as racing is concerned. We really appreciate you taking time out tonight to be with us. It was an honor to have you on here, and hopefully we'll get you back on sometime. You can tell us some of the stories about racing in the 24 hours and some of these other places that you've raced.
Oh, man, I'd love to do it anytime. I appreciate you guys calling me up, giving me the opportunity to be out there again.
Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate you spending time with us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
You too now.
Speaking of 24 hours, I was trying to explain to a friend of mine who has nothing to do with motorsports. He watched NASCAR for the first time last year. I said, I'm watching 24 hours a day. Huh? He said, you mean they drive a whole 24 hours? I said, yes, they drive the whole 24 hours.
Somebody does.
Well,
but that's a legend right there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I was going to try to play it up if Max had called in like he was supposed to. I was going to play that up a little bit about the two of them being road racers.
Well, I found another legend right there.
Guest appearance. How y'all doing tonight?
A guest appearance by Cody Carlton. Yeah. How could the day end without anybody but Cody Carlton?
Cody, how hard was it to watch your car run last week?
I had a heart attack.
Yeah, I heard you wore the floor out when walking on the A-Main.
Yeah, I was pacing back and forth, but I didn't want to put nobody else in the car but him. I knew he could get it done.
Yeah.
And he did.
He did what he was supposed to do. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
for the top dog win.
Yeah.
Well,
So yeah.
so where do you stand in the standings with this little altercation we got here?
I mean, I'm still first in owners' points, but I'm like 5th in drivers' points.
Man, we got the whole crew here.
The whole crew
We got Greer, Eric.
And some guy over there.
He's
we
not
don't know
here.
He ain't here. We don't know who he is. But anyway, all right. Well, we're gonna sign off for tonight. And good show. Even with you here.
Yeah.
And you don't have an appearance this week. You have to go
No.
to, right?
The following week. So
Okay.
I'm gonna come over to Arena
I
Racing
noticed.
this
I
weekend.
noticed these guys were back there looking at your car.
I don't know. They probably. Yeah, right now. Yeah, right. All right. I guess we'll see you next week.
See you next week.